Hello everyone and welcome to the Think Global Conference 2021. My name is Bena and I will be presenting in this session with a focus on the African Continental Free Trade Area as a key benefit for doing business in Africa. I will share strategies on how to enter and win on the continent. Now, this is not a political session, so our discussion will be from a business perspective. And because we only have 15 to 20 minutes together, my presentation will be general in nature with a high level information. If you need more detail, please feel free to reach out to me by email. This information will be provided to you shortly. Who is Bena Benatshipama? I am a corporate sales executive, businessman, and entrepreneur. All my friends call me Bena, so please feel free to do the same. Again, we only have 15 to 20 minutes together, so I will not talk much I am the founder and managing director for Impetus Africa, a strategic business development agency focused on helping global companies and entrepreneurs develop high-profile, large-scale projects in Africa. Please visit our website to learn more about our company, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions or want to learn more about our services. But I will not go into much more details. I will stop here because we don't have a lot of time together. If you don't remember anything from this presentation, please remember this. If you are looking for a new consumer market for your product and or services, think of Africa. And here are the reasons why. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a legal agreement for a single market for the continent of Africa, merging over 1.2 billion people with a combined GDP of over $2 trillion. Africa has a young population and a growing middle class whose purchasing power is fast increasing. Global companies, investors, and entrepreneurs alike will be able to do business on a single set of trade and investment rules across the entire African continent. This is big. Global companies will also be able to take advantage of the economies of scale and avoid the challenges of a fragmented market, because under this agreement, the entire continent of Africa is one market, one block. The truth is, there is not a perfect trade agreement out there, but the fact that economic integration is taking place or being implemented, and that global organizations are providing the needed technical and financial support, proves that the African Continental Free Trade Area is a unique opportunity, and business leaders that are bold and ambitious will be able to capitalize on the future of a united Africa. Yes, Africa is uniting and is open for business. This is what I want you to take away from today's presentation. The actual agreement is over 450 pages, so I will not be able to cover everything in this presentation, but we'll touch on key points that are relevant to our discussion and context of this conference. The reality is, I don't believe that we can discuss the African Continental Free Trade Area without first talking about the African Union. So why don't we do that first? In this segment, we will touch on how to successfully enter the African market and ultimately win while changing the lives of the African people. The African Continental Free Trade Area gives corporations different entry points into the African market, which is good. But our advice is to select your location based on the need of your product and services. Unfortunately, not every African country is developing at the same stage or at the same speed. So a generic entry will not be a very strategic move. We've seen companies that have been very successful, and we've analyzed them, and we've seen other companies that had challenges. The difference is really how you enter the market. First, you have to go into a very in one country. It's all under the agreement. Africa is now one market, but the entry point has to be very strategic. Which country specifically do you enter from, or no, enter by? And then once you experience success, then you can expand into the other countries around it, or export your product across Africa if that's what you choose to do, and that's the intent of this conversation. It is projected by 2030 that the largest consumer market will be Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. Of course, there are other strategic opportunities out there, or like we're looking at Angola, Ethiopia, Ghana, definitely, Kenya, and many other countries. But the idea here is for you to be very strategic when entering the continent. Pick your entry point strategically. Africa is a very dynamic market. We're looking at, again, 55 different countries under one market, different languages, different currencies. There are different things that's going on a continent that need to be managed. So the idea here, or our advice, will be for you to adapt your business model to the local content. You must solve a real unmet need. Don't be generic. African are very brand loyal. If they like your product or your brand, they will stick with you. So this is why we recommend to adapt everything to the local market, to whatever market you first operating in, or any market that you want to um, export your product to. You need to consider that local market specifically. It's not one country. Africa is 55 different countries that make up the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is again the meat of our conversation today. So that's one strategy on how to succeed in Africa. Adapt your business model to the local content. What is your process for talent attractiveness, development, retention, and growth within your African business? These are questions that need answers and planning before you enter the African market. Same thing as we do in the developed world. We hire people, train them, equip them with the tools, and then we give them the jobs. The same idea have to be applied on a continent. You can bring workers from other part of the world that have the expertise, but you still have to connect with the local community. This is how you do it. Your talent management strategy has to be in place to manage or unleash the local talent. This is critical. You can't underestimate the local community. If they support your business, if they see your business as valuable to their community, if you're hiring the local talent and helping them develop into leadership and things of that nature, believe me, African are very brand loyal. They will support your business and help you become successful. We've seen it many times, and we know it's going to work for you as well. Think like a camel, act like a camel, be like a camel. Apparently, camels can survive for a very long time in very tough conditions without needing a lot of, you know, substance to survive. The idea here is that you need to build resilience in your business by thinking long term and diversifying your offering. You can't think about Africa in short term. Like, I'm gonna go in for 5 days, for 5 years, and then exit the market. There's always exception to the rules, but the strategy here is that you need to think long term to overcome any valleys into your African business journey. There will be valleys and peaks. It's just how business is done. There be successes and some challenges. But if you have a long-term vision, long-term view, you will eventually arrive to the success that Africa, the African market has to offer. And we believe in this because we've seen it. We have stories and examples of successful business people on the continent that have been there for 30 years, 30 some years, and they still enjoy success. Now, they've had their challenges, but because they had a long-term view, they were able to sustain and become successful. We think the same thing will happen for you if you go in with the African businesses are the biggest beneficiaries of this historic trade agreement, and ambitious companies and entrepreneurs will be able to benefit from this unique opportunity. Africa is now, not yesterday, not tomorrow. I know that you've heard this before, but I'll say it again here. I will repeat it again. Africa is China 30 years or 50 years ago. Please seize this opportunity, this moment, and impact over 1 billion lives while building African successful companies. If you have any question, please feel free to ask, and I will try to answer as many as possible within the time that we have together. Again, thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to your questions.